how much do you think it matters to have read prerequisites before tackling many of the classics? One who hasn't read the Bible or much Greek mythology before reading Shakespeare, or Shakespeare before more recent greats, for example, sometimes I get overwhelmed with prerequisites, as when I recently took a break from Barzan to read some of those he was discussing, even though I know there's no catching up to Barzan. It's hopeless. Okay, yeah, this is great. So Barzan, I often recommend Barzan's book, From Dawn to Decadence. I think it's a great survey if you're looking for one. But right, it can become incredibly daunting to feel like, and I've had different versions of this question before, like I get into a poem and like every line has an allusion to something that I haven't read, so then I have to go read that thing, but then that thing has allusions to other things. I would say that there are 3 foundational texts which you should read before you embark on your own kind of personal rabbit holes. I think 3 is a manageable number. You could ratchet it up to 5, but let me just start with 3. Homer's Iliad, the entire Bible, and the complete works of Shakespeare. And those will take a long time in and of themselves. And there will be references within those as well that you don't immediately understand. But those are kind of bedrock texts. I call them bedrock texts because they stand at the fountainhead of the major traditions. Shakespeare sort of stands at the fountainhead of modern English literature, in my opinion. The Bible stands at the fountainhead of, all Judeo-Christian teaching, obviously. And then Homer stands at the fountainhead of the Greek literary tradition, which would become the Roman literary tradition as well. I would recommend to anybody that they read those texts first, but I wouldn't recommend that they then feel as if, I really feel like you don't need to bother yourself about knowing every possible reference in every work that you read. It's okay if you don't understand some of the stuff that you read the first time around. And it's okay if you go back later on and you think like, oh, I get it. I get what that was saying there. That's part of the reading process. Like nobody alive, myself very much included, like nobody doesn't have that experience. I still have that experience all the time. I'll read something in a new genre. I mean, like I'm studying Japanese now. So I'll like enter into Japanese literature and I'll be like, well, where the hell do I begin? It's like there are a few foundational texts, but then after that, you're just going to have to accept, right, that sometimes this stuff marinates within you and you'll catch things you didn't catch before. I mean, this is part of the whole job of scholarship. So I would suggest like, yes, it's very easy to get bogged down and overwhelmed. And I would say like, that's the whole game. Like the game of doing all the prerequisites is the game. And I would keep your list of actual prerequisites limited, like things that you actually have to have read before you embark upon reading the classics of the West. And I would say the Iliad, the Bible, and Shakespeare. You could toss in the 4 dialogues of Plato, the Euthyphro Apology, Crito, and Phaedo if you wanted. You could toss that in. Which is basically counts as one work, and you could also put in like the Aeneid, perhaps. But I would really think that like start with those, then go do some reading and go down rabbit holes. It's like that's the adventure, man. Like they didn't mean for you to know every reference when they wrote these texts. Even they meant for them to unfold like flowers before you.